Alright, this is our second video on how to program the TI-84 Plus with TI Basic. And we've already covered clear home, pause, variables, input and output. And so we're going to practice that. And we're going to add in how to control the flow of a program. Now, this is for basic control and flow. For advanced control and flow, people would tell you avoid label, avoid go to, avoid the menu at all costs, and that's fine. But for real basic control and flow, we're gonna do some labels. So if you want to label a section of code, you can label it with a letter, label A. This code is labeled A. We're gonna use the end a lot, especially later on, but this ends a section of code. And go to, so if you have a bunch of labels, you can send them back and forth between labels using the go to command. So go to A sends a program to label A. Again, the convention I'm using is the black part of the notes is to give you a description of what it does. The red part is all that will go into the calculator. So the other piece we're going to talk about is the menu. And the menu is going to probably be our most complicated line of code in many of our programs. And so you're going to want to avoid the clear button at all costs. Clear will clear a whole line of code, and when you use the menu button, you're going to have a lot of code. So you have to use labels with the menu. So you have menu. The first entry is a string, the title of the menu. The second entry under menu is the first option, option 1, and then the label for option 1 that corresponds to the label you're going to give it here. And then option 2, label 2, and so on, as many as you want to do. I imagine that there's a limit, but I've never practically approached that limit. So, and if you want to stop the program before you get to the end of a program, you can use stop. I like to use the stop button from time to time. So this lesson is going to be to claim the program. We're going to ask the user for time of day, ask the user's name, and then greet the user with either good morning in their name, good afternoon in their name, and good evening plus their name. Alright, so I'm going to start a new program, and since this is 2, I'm going to name my program second because I'm so creative. You can name it something else if you want. Remember, my first line is always going to be clear home, which is 8 under that. Enter. I want to put my name on it, put my hacker name there. So that's display. And display, what do I want to display? I want to display sorry about that. Let me go back here. I'm going to edit my second display. For some reason it ended up that. So I'm going to turn my alpha lock back on. T M P. So, and again I forgot to buy. Second insert changes it here. I want BY space and close quotation, and then I want to pause it. So program under control number 8 is pause, so I can just hit 8, and then again I want to tell the user to press enter. So open quotations, PRESS space ENTER, close quotation. Alright, so now I've claimed the program. I need to ask the user the time of day. I need to ask the user their name. Actually, I'm going to switch the order of that. I'm going to ask the user the name first. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to program. I want to ask something, so I'm going to ask for an input. And I'm going to ask for their name. NAME, question mark, close parenthesis. Now remember from the last tutorial that, oops, I lots of J's because I have lots of commas. Remember from the tutorial, this is a string, so I need a string variable. So under the vars button, I need to go to the string, press 7, and I'm just going to use string 1. So I ask for the name, and I'm going to store it in string 1. Then I'm going to ask the user the time of day. And I'm going to do that with a menu. So I'm going to go to the program button. Now, notice we're working on control flow, so it's under the CTL. So I'm going to go down to menu. Here we have menu. Alright, so then the first thing in the menu that we're going to do is, let me go over there again, is the menu title. So we're asking the time of day, so I'm going to ask time of day. And I'm going to throw in a question mark. And so now option 1, remember our options are going to be morning, afternoon, and evening. Oh, see what happened when I hit clear? Now I'm going to have to do it again. So, program, menu is C, I have to remember that. So, time of day, question mark, close quotation, comma. So we have morning, and now I need a label for morning. I'm going to have that just be label A. That's the first label, so we'll have it label A. And that's available because we used string 1 for the name. Alright, so the second option will be afternoon. So A, comma. And now I'm going to be typing a string here. AFTERNOON, afternoon, comma, and my label for that will be label B, comma, alpha lock, and my final ask here is evening, so I'm going to have EVENING, evening, with label C. Alright, so now what it's going to do immediately after this line is it's going to jump to setting label A, B, or C. So if we just run it now, it'll give us a label error. And this is why we wanted to put the name before it. Because if we try to put the name after menu, it would never see it. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Easter eggs. This would be a great place to put an Easter egg on that line because nobody's ever going to see it. So now we're going to do some outputting here. So we're going to say if they pressed morning, it will be label A. So we'll go to program. We'll go down to label, which is number 9, label A. So now this chunk of code is going to be labeled with an A. So if it's A is morning, so we want to display good morning and then the name. So we have good morning. Now we can put the close parentheses, and then we can just add their name here, plus, and their name, remember, is stored under string 1. If we did this, it will say good morning, and then their name, there will be no space. Remember we had a space here? But if you can see, notice here that this is almost a complete line. And so it won't wrap very well. So what I like to do in that case is I like to put a comma here instead. And since our program is done, I'm just going to have it stop. Because I'm done with the program after that. Now, if it's label A, it'll start here, label A, it will go to stop, and we'll be done. If we choose B, afternoon, it will skip all of that information until it comes to B. So here we have label B, and I'm going to do the same thing here, display, except good morning, it's going to say good afternoon, comma, string. So program, display, good after noon, comma, vars, their name is in string 1, and then again we'd be done, so we're just going to have it stop. We don't need to do anything more. When we get to the Pythagorean theorem formula, I'll show you how to jump around using the go-to command. And then finally we have label C. So we have label C. We're going to display good evening, and then comma, string 1. Good evening, close quotation, comma, string 1. Alright, and now when it gets to the end of here, there's nothing left, so it'll stop automatically. So now let's execute our program. We want our second program. This is useful, especially if we debug it. We all make mistakes. So, and I will be no exception. And I'm not going to make it so that if I make a mistake, I'm not going to start over, because making mistakes is part of programming. So let's say it was that. It says, it asks my name. It says, good morning, Tom. And it's done. So since I have all those different options, I'm going to run each one separately. Ask for my name, Tom, and I know morning works. I'm going to choose afternoon. It says good afternoon, Tom. I'm going to run it one more time. My name is still, in fact, Tom. Notice here, this is a string, so even that messed up, it doesn't matter. It's evening. It says good evening, TZ/. Now for you advanced programmers out there, if you want to get rid of these 3 lines, think about where you would put a clear home so that you can get rid of those lines. That's it for the second tutorial video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you do, continue learning with me. Thank you.